first attempt was so disastrous because I felt like I was staring at the eye of a volcano because my time management was off. I did not know my approach at all. I felt so disappointed in myself. Finesse in my preparation, my 2020 was a very big failure. I've written things like blundered this because of stress. Why did I not see option B instead of C? So I went so deep into myself for 2-3 months, completely shut everything out. Sir, I think I wanted an occupation where my perspective of life was a bit more broad-based. What is the percentage? How many attempts it would take? Should I go to Delhi and study? I just went all guns blazing because I really wanted to land a job where my potential would be so well tested, sir.
Is your GS first or optional first? Good afternoon, all of you. We have Eshani Anand with us. She's ranked 79. Eshani has had a very interesting journey. This was her 4th attempt in UPSC exam. In her first attempt, she could not qualify prelims. In the second, she reached till mains. In the third, she qualified for revenue services. And now Eshani is an IAS officer. We'll learn a lot from Eshani. We'll also learn how she managed this long journey that she has had. We will also learn her choice of optional. We will learn how we should go about preparing for GS, what mistakes we should not do. Because some of us might do mistakes inadvertently. So what mistakes we should not do. So thanks a lot, Eshani, for coming here, and a very warm welcome to Next IAS.
Thank you so much, sir, for having me.
Eshani, so how did it all begin? When did you choose to be a civil servant? Or choose maybe is a strong word, but when did you aspire to be a civil servant?
Sir, I think I wanted an occupation where my perspective of life was a bit more broad-based. And in my understanding of myself, I thought I had a very compassionate mental faculty. So I felt that which job could I pair diversification with this? And in my understanding, I felt like I had an other regarding personality. So given all of this, I thought civil services would be an occupation that I would give it a very good try. Of course, I did not check the difficult statistics, the toughness of the exam. I had not...
Oh, you didn't check all that?
I did not check, sir. I knew it's a tough exam, but I didn't really put my head into thinking what is the percentage, how many attempts it would take, should I go to Delhi and study. I just went all guns blazing because I really wanted to land a job where my potential would be so well tested, sir. That's how it all began.
Right. And then how did it go further? What was the first step? I mean, you started with your GS first or optional first?
So I was quite excited, sir, because I love the syllabus. It was very diverse. So I was very happy to read Lakshmi Khan, modern history. It was never a problem for me.
Right.
So 2019, I began my preparation. Everything was by the book, very perfect. But in 2020, my first attempt was so disastrous because I felt like I was staring at the eye of a volcano because my time management was off. I did not know my approach at all. I felt so disappointed in myself in those.
And was pandemic creating trouble in that year? 2020 was a bad year for all of us in that sense.
Sir,
exam was getting postponed.
True, sir. Very true, because the classes were also stopping in the middle. The exam had got pushed, like you rightly said, by 3-4 months. There was a lot of uncertainty at that time. So some disturbances were there, sir. But I think my first foray into a stoic approach was this exam being pushed and how to calibrate my approach then.
Right.
Despite so much strength and finesse in my preparation, my 2020 was a very big failure. So I took a break for 2-3 months, completely went internal. In fact, when I came back with the question paper, I wrote on every question with a post-it what my mindset was. I've written things like blundered this because of stress. Why did I not see option B instead of C? So I went so deep into myself for 2-3 months, completely shut everything out. And I think that was a very big quality I brought up because I embraced my failure so gracefully.
Right.
Then finally, in 2021, I cleared my first prelims, which was a very nice small triumph for me. But sir, my mains was devastating because although my GS was quite good, I had faltered in optional and lost the cutoff, I think, by a couple of marks.
Oh,
achha. Yes, sir.
So, it was just a couple of marks and optional was
it was the stickling point. Yes,
right,
sir. Even though I felt that I had put my best understanding, I wondered why was I not able to portray myself better in my optional. And that's when I made another improvement on presentation and on clarity of thought. I realized if I have to put pen to paper what I feel, it has to be something from a thought clarity point of view.
True.
So I revised again, went back to square one. Interestingly, I cleared 2022 prelims because of my 2020 learning.
Right.
So had I not failed in 2020, my fall would have been much harsher, I think.
That's a very good point you make. Very good point. In fact, just for everybody's understanding that, when you by chance don't succeed in your pursuit, whatever you are doing, it's actually how you respond to that situation. Which I think decides what future is going to have in store for you, rather than, feeling bad about it for very long or and living with it,
Yes.
that I think depletes us rather than.
Yes, sir.
And you said that 21 you prepared and you cleared mains. I think writing mains, that is something that I would like to hear from you.
Yes.
That writing mains does it contribute decently in the next prelims also? Like what I have in my mind is that just in case somebody doesn't clear prelims, isn't it advisable that they still go for mains and prepare the mains examination,
Yes.
so that the next prelims becomes relatively easy?
Yes, sir. In fact, I did do that as well, because in
Perfect.
2020, when I hadn't cleared prelims, I did pair both of them together. I realized I should focus more on essay, ethics, and optional, so they all went together hand in hand. So
Right.
my point is, even if you don't clear prelims, it's not that it's the end of the world.
True.
Maybe God is giving you more time to prepare for mains and prelims better. So we
Right.
could take that time and focus on mains preparation as well.
Right.
But sir, I do want to mention one thing, that in my preparation, I think even though I faltered, I never thought that I'm a failure. I just believe that my process was wrong.
True.
So there is this lesson on tenacity, that you don't repeat the erroneous approach every time, you just
Right.
change it.
Right.
More than perseverance, I think tenacity is something that I've learned until 2022, sir.
Right.
And how was the 22 attempt? I mean, you qualified IRS in that attempt.
Yes, sir.
So how was the 22 attempt? How did it go?
So I think my biggest victory, I cannot take away the rank 79, but my biggest victory was getting my first interview call.
Right.
Because I knew I had a very dark patch, and then finally I was able to overcome something. So when I got the first call, 2022, I cleared prelims and mains, and then the interview, sir. So the interview was very interesting because we come out of this bat cave solitary preparation to
Yeah.
a more stage-like preparation where we're bare bones, we suit up so gracefully and go to the panels.
Right.
So that sort of
And people are asking you all sorts of
all
questions.
sorts of questions. You cannot cross something, you cannot think something wrong, so you have to be
Right.
spontaneous. But I think I built my articulation and communication a bit, sir, in that attempt, and it
Perfect.
was a good experience.
And how was your first interview experience?
So it is very, when I recall my interview experience, I think I was so much younger and naive because I did not know what UPSC looked like. Would they like me? I had externalized it too much, which was my
Okay.
biggest fault.
Okay.
Even though I cleared that year, I felt like I should have gone more internal, had more clarity of my own thoughts, which I did in my second interview, and I have
Right.
increased that score.
So that was the difference between the two interviews? That
Certainly, sir.
second interview you were more internalized and you
I
were
had
more
more-
self-focused?
More self-focused. I did not bother so much about, let's say, something outsider was telling me on what I should say, but I was so true to what I thought of an issue.
Right.
Because I knew I will tell them what I feel, and if I'm faltering in my arguments, I will accept it.
Right.
So I think this change was somehow latently percolating in the room, maybe, that I did score a bit better, sir, in my second interview.
Nice. And what will be the role of statics? Because what I see some students doing, and again you can suggest more on that. That they right from day one they try getting into the dynamics and a lot of current affair, and you know how the system is. So everybody's telling you that go for current affairs and
Yes.
prepare this, and there are too many materials on current affairs.
Yes.
So but what I generally advise the students is that build your statics up,
Yes, sir.
understand the subjects. What will be your take on this?
Sir, if I describe it as a microcosm, I do think there is a dichotomy of control.
Yeah.
We control a lot of things in our life, and there is a very big part we cannot.
Right.
What we cannot in this exam is the rank, the peers who are performing better than us, or anything of that sort. So we cannot.
Or who is studying
Who
what?
is studying better from which part? Even my rank 79, there are so many ahead of me.
Right.
Current affairs is that dichotomy which we cannot control. We can predict the themes which are in news and which are coming, but it's not necessary to put energy in things we cannot control.
True.
So what we can control in this exam is good habits, having equanimity, but static syllabus, for example.
Yeah.
They're a very big part of our prelims paper. In my experience, I think 20-30 questions have always come from polity, modern history, core economics concepts, environmental concepts, for example, and even in our GS papers, sir. And my scoring subjects have been the static portions like GS2 polity or GS1 history, for example. So it may feel like, why am I studying something so trite? But these are your scoring points.
Yeah.
Everyone gets them correct. So you cannot fall behind in the competition.
True. And plus, what I always believe is that unless you don't get the static, like say I'm a GS3 person. So if you don't know what is fiscal deficit,
Yes, sir.
or what has been the basic theory behind it, how do you understand the trend and the application?
Exactly.
So you need to maybe build your basics and then you go for the trends and go application.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Shani, tell me one more thing. How about the choice of optional? What would you suggest? How should people choose their optional? Because you made a very interesting choice. You shifted from engineering to anthropology.
So I'll speak a little bit about my journey to choose
Please.
anthropology. I think, as far as I know myself, my understanding is very generalistic and diverse. So I did want to move from a technical subject to something a bit more anthropological,
Right.
something more different from engineering. And in my years of choosing optional, there was the issue of the centennials at that point of time. So I went quite deeper into the tribal problems of India because of interest. And then in 2019, when I had to choose an optional, I felt that the syllabus really struck a chord with me. It
Okay.
had aspects of biology, linguistics, which I like, culture, and understanding people's perception. It ties back to our first question as to why I chose civil services. Because it's a very other regarding subject. It does not care about ethnocentric stuff, but more about what others are feeling and doing. It did strike a chord with me, so I had that inkling to take this optional, and then I went deeper. Are the sources well spread out? Can I stick with it for a couple of years? Is there a lot of material, test series? I think this was my process, sir.
Okay.
But to make it a bit more objective, I would say that it's important that you have some interest in the optional. The
Right.
syllabus should be intelligible to you.
Right.
And can you manage it for a couple of years with so and so and so? And do you have enough sources and good
Right.
test series to guide you
Absolutely,
through it?
absolutely. These are the 4 dictums that I also give students. That foremost is your interest.
Yes, sir.
That do you feel that it's good?
Yes.
Second, maybe that can you live with the subject, as in and how deep you can take yourself into it, and then of course what kind of material, what kind of help, and how much are you willing to dwell with that?
Yes.
That of course very well said, very correctly put. And how about managing these last two odd months, Shani? Like these are months when everybody is on a, and then the weather doesn't help at all.
No.
It's all hot everywhere, and then tropical country.
Yes,
so how
sir.
do you suggest what should be done?
I think these 2 months you build a belief system, you start perhaps believing in different things. And you also feel like every day is so much lesser than what you have to go towards prelims. But I feel that first and foremost, you should have a good control of the static syllabus in these coming years.
Right.
In these coming days, sorry. Modern history, polity, economics, the core concepts. And second has to be a good clarity of the PYQs in the coming years.
Right.
How is the paper being structured? What should be your strategy to do the paper?
Right.
Do you do it in iterations? Do you come back and guess? Do you deduct? Do you eliminate?
I'll just interrupt you here,
Yes.
Shani. What was the mindset in last year's paper? Because it was a paper a little out of woods. So what was your mindset while taking that paper, 2023 prelims exam? What all was going through? I know it's finally the paper which is going through.
Yes.
But then everybody, I think, was stumped looking at
Yes.
that kind of a paper. So how did you reconcile?
Sir, I think it was my biggest test of stoicism in the paper to check.
True.
But I had given the prelims 3 days after the IRS, sir. But I knew that the core of the paper is not going to change, even if the pattern has changed. The same areas of focus, the same static questions, the same mindset to deduce and rationalize is not going to change.
True.
Of course, we cannot narrow down to an answer without content. So it's possible that you will lose more than your previous attempts. But I had this confidence that I'm not going to change my approach. The content, the core essence of my past is going to take me further. And it did help me,
It
sir.
did.
Yes,
Plus,
sir.
that's what I keep telling the students also, that if the paper is tough, then the cutoff has to come down.
Yes, sir.
I mean, tough and easy are relative things. If you are well prepared and you are finding it tough, then that means everybody is finding it tough.
Very true.
I mean, I would tell you something from my student days that I used to carry this as my confidence thing. That if I would find the paper a little tough, I would feel, oh my God, what would be happening to these people? I would never feel that I'm the only one stuck up.
Yes.
इनका क्या हो रहा होगा
It
जब
is a
मुझे tough
very
लगे.
relative exam, sir. All
Right.
the 3 levels.
At the end of the day, you are competing.
Yes.
So it's about if somebody scores a 75, like say this year's exam, you're in any case competing this exam. So that's what I keep suggesting for this year also, that be prepared. In fact, you have written 4 prelims.
Yes, sir.
So you can tell me or correct me if I'm wrong, that every prelims is a new experience.
Yes,
they give
sir.
you something or the other that
Certainly.
like 2020 there was so many questions from agriculture,
Yes.
and suddenly 21 there was no agriculture.
Yes, sir.
So I think there should not be too much of backboarding. There
Very
should not
true.
be,
You should be ready for any sort of paper, any sort of change in the paper. But remember that the essence won't change, and you will
Absolutely.
have static syllabus also, which you
Absolutely.
should score well.
And they can't change that.
They can't change that.
Right. And while writing mains, like between prelims and mains,
Yes, sir.
I have just 2 questions for you on that. I've been asking everybody this.
Okay.
One, that how much time do you take after prelims and then come back to the table?
Okay.
All right, because I see many people, what they do is they keep waiting for prelims result, which I think is very disastrous. Because, you know, if you wait till prelims result, then you have already lost some important 20 odd days.
Very much.
And second, connected is between prelims and mains, in any case, you have hardly 90 odd days. This year, there is even lesser. So what should be the priority? How should you go about?
So I would never spend holidays or something. I would never let my brain free after prelims because I knew I should be much more focused.
The work is not yet done.
The work is not yet done. So don't let your brain enjoy freedom for a bit as well. So I would take a day or two off, spend time with my family, eat what I wanted to, and just meet friends, sir. But I would always come back on, I think, a Tuesday, Wednesday when prelims is done. Even though I would not know the results, I would simply keep preparing so that the tempo is not lost.
Perfect.
So I would suggest that don't take off for so long. Even don't check so many answer keys and completely think that it's lost. And do a lot of this analysis on your own. That the results will come, you finish the exam, just disassociate yourself from the results.
Right.
It will happen.
In any case, as long as it's not your last attempt, you have to prepare for mains examination.
Correct, sir.
Right.
So,
and then between prelims and mains, like when you prepare for mains, and suppose you have 80 days between prelims and mains, how do you prioritize? What do you do first?
Yes.
And so on.
So I think my approach to mains has always been prioritizing optional, ethics and essay paper.
Okay.
Because I felt that these have gotten me the ranks before, and you get a bigger delta if you do these as well. So I would focus, I think, day-wise approach. So I would take 3-4 days for optional and ethics alone, and then the rest for GS. This worked for me. I would also do test series maybe on the weekends with GS papers, and then I would do a lot of optional work. So I think I put a lot of effort in optional.
And answer writing apart from test series also you would do, or test series used to be the answer writing thing?
Sir, I would have wanted to do more than what I had envisaged, but answer writing was always 9 o'clock. Which is the mains timing, and also at 2, sir. So I would do a couple of questions like that.
Perfect.
And my strategy for answer writing was to use the same pen throughout my preparation as the real examination.
Right.
Never did I change the pen, and I would always write in those the cue border,
formatted.
the format, sir. Everything was in that. To just train my mind that this is the paper, it will be like this in the exam, and this is the pen.
And during the mains, it's quite a tiring journey.
It's very tiring.
3 continuous days and then optional and so on.
Yes.
So how do you go for, because I know, okay, physically, of course, you have to be fit. But how about the mental fitness? Because you hardly get time to even revise.
It's very tough. Very tough to keep the mental fitness going. But every time I would feel tired and fatigued, I always thought of something I was taught at home. It's called Sthiti Prajna philosophy.
Which is stoicism.
Which is stoicism, sir.
Right.
It means any sthiti, any situation, you maintain wisdom. So whenever I would feel fatigued, I would say, everyone is going through this.
Right.
But I'm going to focus only on those 3 hours. So in my mind, I had only GS1, GS2 ho gaya, then GS3, GS4. That's also.
Right.
I think I maintain a lot of mental strength. So, and everybody is going through it.
True.
So don't worry about this. But eat well, please sleep well.
Yeah.
And
because I don't think you can change something major in those 2-3 days.
yes, you can't change a lot. And always believe that your latent learning of the past month will come to you, of the past years will come to you in the examination.
True.
But in the examination, your biggest asset is time. So always remember, sleep well, eat well, keep a good watch, and keep your time in place. That's what I would suggest.
The focus should be on time management within the hall.
Yes, I think my eyes would just toggle between the watch and the paper. So every minute I would make it count.
Right. Very, very correctly said again. Very correctly put. That end of the day, it's about clearing the exam. So you should be focused about what is the best thing I can do in these 3
What should you do in those 3 hours? Don't worry about the exam as a whole at all.
As a whole. Yes. True. And very correctly put. Also, Eshani, you have had a long journey, comparatively. And this is quite a lonely journey, we know. That you know, most of the times you are kind of cocooned and you are doing your own things.
Yes,
so what would you suggest to students? What was your method that you would kind of relieve yourself and make yourself a little more easy on life? Or did you do that, or was it all lonely or something?
Sir, I prepared from Chennai. I was quite alone. I did not have a very large peer group, or I didn't even go to a lot of classes.
Right.
But I was very fortunate to have my parents who would always motivate me. I think we all wrote the exam in many ways because the stress was always with them as well.
Okay.
So I had a good support system so that would keep me grounded anytime I had a dark day. But secondly, sir, I think my strategy has been to have very low expectations from the results. I felt that I should only work every day, wake up on time, even if I had a bad day of studies, I felt that I can overcome it.
With a good day next day.
With a good day next day. So I always had this habit of having a cookie jar, sir.
Okay.
Cookie jar is a strategy which was given by a marathon runner. He says, whenever you have small triumphs, you make a note of it in a book. So whenever you have a very bad day, you go back to it and your brain gets more resilient. This is something I had done. I maintained a cookie jar diary and I had a good support system, and I took up new hobbies like Rubik's Cube because it was intellectually fatiguing. I would go back to studying very quickly after that also.
Right.
And,
in fact, one good thing I actually liked was that when your social system is a little limited, then you have the right choice of people around you.
I did that as well, sir.
You know,
I kept a very small circle who knew about the exam and who I knew would be more happier than me when the results came.
And who would know you very well.
Know me very well, keep me grounded, sir. So I had a very limited pool, sir.
So I think it was kind of a boon for you not to be in old Rajendra kind of.
I can say that now, sir, after 4 years.
After 4 years, yeah. Because many people ask me that sir, we have finished our coaching and do we need to stay here? And I often advise them that no, there is no point. I mean, if you can study at home, then home is the best place.
For some people, they like a peer group which is motivating them. They want that motivation.
Yes.
But my understanding of myself was so clear that I will do it alone. I am academic on myself as well. So I just need support at home. So.
And how was this year's interview experience?
So, like I said, I was a different person. I think I was a very different person. I was also in service. So I had that confidence that I'm going to be my best professional behavior. They will expect more from me perhaps, but I will come back articulating clearly what I want to speak.
And were they asking you more about your services or?
It was a mix of everything, sir.
Okay.
A mix of topics like entertainment, movies, European Union, Israel-Hamas issue, IRS, a lot of it.
So it was all well spread.
Yes, sir. It was a very interesting experience because I was waiting what could be the next question.
And you were at Next IAS, IGP and Mains Test Series?
Yes, even last year, 2022, I was in the interview program.
In the interview program. And how was your experience with the Mains Test Series? I think Asif does a very hard work thing there. In fact, he's not here, so I can say that I've seen him as one of the most hardworking people and very student-friendly that he goes. So how was your experience with?
Yes, sir. So 2022 was my first foray with Next IAS. I got in the interview guidance program and I had a mock. So that was a good experience, helped me a lot. But the Mains Test Series I had joined after I got into IRS. And I sat with sir, analyzed all my questions, all my papers. He told me what's right, what's wrong in a very impartial manner. We spoke about things like handwriting, presentation, point format. So I think a lot of it I was imbibing. It has helped me this year, sir, because my GS scores have increased by a lot. But the test series also provide a very good solution PDF. So I kept supplementing my years of basic content with the factoids. And in many ways, we could predict a little bit of the themes which kept coming. So I do credit a lot of my improvement to Asif sir and the Next IAS team. There was also this book on PYQ, sir, where the themes were written, which I had also got. So that was my Bible. With my syllabus, with this book, I would always go back and focus on these a bit more.
And because of my personal interest, because I teach GS paper 3, economy, what did you take up majorly for economy?
So economy, I saw a lot of your classes. I think online I saw your budget, your economic survey. Since 2022, I've been seeing them. I would make notes of it, download it and see it in flights. Yes, sir, because it's so lucid and clear. Your words I would regurgitate, contract policy, fiscal policy, a lot of it I took to heart. And also in this interview, sir, I saw a lot of your classes. But in general for economics preparation, I saw the PYQs. They ask a lot of core concepts.
Very correct.
Like repo rate, bank rate or inflation. So I kept that clarity with me.
Even exchange rate and all.
Everything. So there are 8 to 9 good topics which they keep asking. So I made sure I was very strong with that. And then in GS3, I supplemented with whatever I was learning from you, economic survey and the magazines.
Because if you're in tune with current and agriculture kind of a part and then you are
so it's a very interesting way to write GS3. It's quite different from GS1, GS2.
Quite different.
You need to write the correct keywords, put statistics, have good rigor in your answers. Because they can make out
data points and all should be there.
Very much so. The right data point also.
Right data point. That's very true. That is why I keep advising students that don't do secondary sources. Go to the primary source like a survey or an India yearbook rather than, going to a secondary source and then maybe getting it wrong and then the examiner will badly mark you. Just one last thing, Eshani, that what will be your message to students? Because I know that you have worked a lot on your mind and mental preparation. So, apart from the knowledge-based preparation, which all of us are imbibing in ourselves, what will be your tips for mentally remaining as good and as free as possible?
Sir, I would say that my preparation has been a little bit of incremental and waterfall model. I think what helped me was having tenacity. Tenacity is different from hard work and perseverance. It means we don't repeat the same approach. We keep going forward, but we change our approaches. So I have been tenacious until today, and I would advise people that have low expectations from the result, but please be tenacious. The one way to succeed in this examination is to keep this cacophony of rank, topper, content, knowledge, multiple sources away, and go very internal in your approach. Be tenacious, because any small change in your strategy will definitely give you rewards. It is assumed there's so much luck involved, there's only luck, but it cannot be the case, because in my journey, luck may have helped me in many ways, but being tenacious has brought me at least to this rank today. So I would tell everyone, please go internal. Please be very sure of why this exam matters to you, and have a regurgitatingly changing strategy, and be very tenacious, so you will definitely get your rank or whatever service you wish.
Perfect. So it was wonderful talking to you, Eshani. I hope everybody has gained a lot from it. I'm sure you will learn a lot about mental management, because I've seen Eshani working on it. Stoicism is actually a very good idea. जो स्थितप्रज्ञ जो होते हैं वो हमेशा संतुलित होते हैं. Equanimity is what comes naturally if you are practicing stoicism. So in this exam, I think in life in general, but this exam in particular, it works very well. So thanks a lot, Eshani, for being here.
Thank you so
and
much,
I hope
sir.
you make a great officer. I'm sure you would.
Thank you,
so go ahead. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you. Thank you.